There will come a day when someone's words sting you, when their tone cuts deeper than they should have allowed. And in that moment, every instinct in you will want to fire back, to correct them, to defend your name, to set the record straight. But what if I told you that your silence could be louder than their insult? Respect is often seen as something to be earned or exchanged, a give and take interaction where one's behavior determines the treatment they receive. However, the truth is that respect is less about what we receive and more about what we choose to give. The way people treat us is a reflection of their own character, their own beliefs, and their own struggles. It is not a direct assessment of our worth or values. Understanding this distinction is essential to maintaining self-respect and emotional strength in the face of negativity. When someone treats us poorly, it is natural to take it personally. We feel the sting of harsh words, dismissive actions, or unkind behavior, and we begin to question ourselves. What did I do to deserve this? Why am I not being valued? These questions, while understandable, lead us down a path of self-doubt and unnecessary emotional burden. The reality is that disrespectful behavior often has little to do with the person receiving it and everything to do with the one displaying it. A person who is unkind, impatient, or dismissive is often projecting their own insecurities, frustrations, or misunderstandings. Their reaction is a mirror reflecting what is inside them, not an accurate measure of who we are. This is why it is so important to let our responses be guided by our values rather than by someone else's behavior. If we allow someone's disrespect to dictate our reaction, we risk lowering ourselves to their level, engaging in the same negative energy they have chosen. Reacting with anger or resentment may feel justified in the moment, but it ultimately gives power to the very behavior we oppose. Instead, responding with patience, composure, and dignity reinforces our own principles. It is a declaration that we will not be swayed by negativity or drawn into unnecessary conflict. Furthermore, this approach shifts the focus from external validation to internal stability. When we base our sense of self-worth on how others treat us, we place our emotional well-being in the hands of unpredictable forces. But when we understand that respect is a reflection, not a transaction, we reclaim our power. We recognize that our worth is not dependent on someone else's opinion or behavior. This realization brings a sense of peace and control, allowing us to navigate difficult interactions with confidence rather than emotional reactivity. Additionally, when we respond to disrespect with grace, we set a standard for how we expect to be treated. People take note of how we handle adversity, and our behavior can influence the way they interact with us in the future. Consistently choosing to act with integrity establishes an unspoken boundary, one that communicates that we will not engage in hostility, nor will we allow it to disrupt our values. Ultimately, the way people treat us is about them. How we respond is about us. By maintaining our sense of respect, regardless of others' actions, we create a foundation built on inner strength rather than external approval. Silence is often misunderstood. Many see it as a sign of weakness, a lack of response, or even an admission of defeat. But in reality, silence is one of the most powerful tools we have in our interactions with others. When faced with disrespect, provocation, or conflict, our first instinct is often to react emotionally, to defend ourselves, to explain, or to retaliate. However, the moment we engage emotionally, we give away control. We allow the other person's words or actions to dictate our response, pulling us into a situation on their terms rather than our own. Silence, on the other hand, shifts the balance of power by removing that control from the other person and placing it firmly in our hands. When we react immediately to a situation, especially one charged with emotion, we operate from a place of impulse rather than strategy. Words spoken in anger or frustration often carry consequences that we later regret. An emotional response can escalate conflict, invite unnecessary tension, or even weaken our position. The person who speaks first, who reacts impulsively, often reveals their vulnerabilities and loses the upper hand. Silence, however, forces the other party to sit with their own words, to feel the weight of the moment, and to reconsider their stance. It creates an uncomfortable pause, an uncertainty that shifts attention away from you and back onto them. Silence also demonstrates self-control, which is one of the strongest forms of power. In a world where people are quick to argue, defend, and react, the ability to remain composed and measured sets you apart. It signals confidence, a sense of inner assurance that does not need validation from external conflict. People who understand the power of silence do not waste their energy on battles that do not serve them. They do not feel the need to prove themselves in every disagreement. Instead, they choose where to invest their attention and energy, ensuring that they respond only when it is truly necessary. Moreover, silence creates space for clarity. It allows us to process the situation, assess the motives behind someone's words or actions, and determine the best course of action. Instead of reacting in the heat of the moment, we can step back and observe, gaining insight into the true dynamics at play. Often, people who seek to provoke or manipulate rely on immediate reactions to fuel their approach. When that reaction is denied, their strategy weakens. They are left to confront their own emotions without the distraction of a back-and-forth exchange. In professional settings, silence is often a tool of negotiation and leadership. Those who speak less but listen more command attention when they do choose to speak. Their words carry weight because they are not used carelessly. This principle applies beyond business into personal relationships and conflicts. The ability to remain silent in critical moments forces others to adjust their approach, reconsider their words, and recognize that they are not in control of your reaction. In doing so, silence becomes a statement in itself, one of strength, presence, and undeniable power. People are constantly revealing who they truly are through their actions, words, and the way they treat others. While many may try to hide their true nature behind polite conversation or social niceties, moments of tension, frustration, or disrespect often strip away that facade. When someone disrespects you, they are offering you a glimpse into their character, how they handle conflict, how they view others, and what they prioritize in their interactions. Instead of reacting immediately, allowing them the space to continue speaking or acting in that manner will often tell you more about them than any direct confrontation ever could. Disrespect is not just about the words someone uses, it is about the mindset and values that those words reflect. A person who speaks down to others, dismisses their feelings, or belittles them in public is not simply having a bad day. They are revealing a deeper truth about how they perceive people. These moments of disrespect serve as windows into their thought process, showing whether they operate from a place of kindness and humility or from arrogance and insecurity. The mistake many people make is attempting to correct or challenge such behavior in the moment. While it may feel justified to push back, doing so can often distract from the real issue, shifting the focus onto the reaction rather than the original behavior. By staying quiet and observing, you give people the opportunity to fully expose themselves without interference. They may try to mask their intentions at first, but given enough time, their consistent behavior will tell you all you need to know. People who are unkind or dismissive cannot hide their true nature indefinitely. If someone frequently speaks negatively about others when they are not present, it is only a matter of time before they do the same to you. If they handle disagreements with insults instead of understanding, that pattern will continue. Paying attention to these signs, rather than trying to force someone to act differently, allows you to make more informed decisions about who deserves your time and energy. When someone reveals themselves through disrespect, they are also showing their level of emotional intelligence and self-awareness. Those who lash out easily, refuse to listen, or disregard the feelings of others are often struggling with their own unresolved issues. Their treatment of others is a reflection of their inner world, not a reflection of the worth of the person they are addressing. Recognizing this helps in maintaining emotional balance and prevents unnecessary personal frustration. Instead of trying to change them or argue, it is often more powerful to simply let them continue speaking or acting as they do. Over time, patterns emerge, and these patterns tell the full story. People reveal themselves, not in isolated moments, but through repeated behaviors. Allowing them the space to show who they are without interference provides clarity. It removes any doubt or confusion about their true intentions, making it easier to decide whether they belong in your life or if it is best to step away. Ego and influence are often at odds with each other. When someone challenges us, insults us, or questions our abilities, the immediate instinct is to defend ourselves. The ego craves validation, a sense of superiority, and the last word in a conversation. It pushes us to react impulsively, to prove a point, or to assert dominance in a situation. But while defending pride may bring momentary satisfaction, it does not create real influence. True influence is built through self-control, patience, and strategic action rather than emotional reactions. Influence is about long-term impact, while ego is focused on short-term victories. The need to respond quickly, to shut someone down in an argument, or to prove one's intelligence or strength often leads to wasted energy and unnecessary conflict. A person who constantly feels the need to defend their pride is easily manipulated because their emotions are predictable. Others can provoke them, control their reactions, and pull them into battles that do not serve any greater purpose. On the other hand, those who practice self-restraint gain a significant advantage. They understand that not every disagreement needs to be won, and not every insult requires a response. By choosing their battles wisely, they maintain their composure and keep the focus on what truly matters. People who have real influence do not need to convince others of their worth through words alone. Their actions, consistency, and ability to remain calm in difficult situations speak louder than any argument ever could. When someone remains composed while others lose control, they automatically command more respect. Their presence carries more weight because they are not driven by the need for immediate validation. Instead, they think ahead, recognizing that true leadership is about building trust and credibility over time. One of the greatest dangers of letting ego take control is that it narrows vision. It turns interactions into personal battles rather than opportunities for growth and connection. An ego-driven response is about winning in the moment, but influence is about creating meaningful change. A leader, mentor, or respected individual does not earn their status by arguing their way to the top. They earn it through wisdom, emotional intelligence, and the ability to see beyond momentary emotions. Those who focus on influence rather than ego recognize that silence can be more powerful than speaking, that walking away can be more strategic than engaging, and that true respect is earned, not demanded. The most influential people understand that power lies in their ability to control themselves, not in controlling others. When faced with criticism or disrespect, they do not waste time proving their worth to those who do not see it. Instead, they focus on actions that reinforce their values and their mission. While ego may push for immediate satisfaction, influence requires patience, resilience, and the discipline to rise above petty conflicts. Those who master this balance are the ones who leave a lasting impact, not because they defended their pride in every moment, but because they built something greater than themselves. Every action we take and every word we speak carries an effect far beyond the immediate moment. The way we respond to situations, especially those involving conflict, disrespect, or tension, creates ripples that spread in ways we may not always see. Our reactions do not exist in isolation. They set off a chain of events that can either escalate a situation or diffuse it. This is why understanding the power of our responses is so critical. A single reaction can shift the tone of an entire conversation, alter relationships, and influence how others perceive and interact with us. When faced with disrespect or provocation, the natural instinct is often to retaliate. Responding in anger or frustration may feel justified, but it does not resolve the issue. It prolongs it. A harsh word leads to another, and soon, a simple disagreement turns into a heated argument. The more negativity is exchanged, the deeper the divide grows. Retaliation fuels this cycle, ensuring that the conflict lingers far longer than necessary. Instead of addressing the problem, it creates new layers of resentment, misunderstanding, and emotional exhaustion. Even if one person wins the argument, both walk away having lost something, whether it's peace of mind, mutual respect, or an opportunity for a more productive outcome. Silence, on the other hand, creates a completely different kind of ripple. When someone speaks harshly or acts out of line and is met with no reaction, they are left with only their own words. Without an immediate counterattack to justify their behavior, they are forced to sit with the weight of what they said. This moment of reflection can be far more powerful than any verbal response. It interrupts the pattern of negativity and forces the other person to confront their own actions without being distracted by another person's anger. Additionally, silence demonstrates control and strength. In a world where people are quick to argue, quick to defend, and quick to lash out, restraint is a rare and powerful tool. It shifts the energy of the interaction, making the aggressor feel the full impact of their own words, rather than shifting the focus to a reaction. This does not mean passivity or avoidance. It means choosing not to add fuel to a fire that serves no purpose. It means recognizing that some battles are not worth fighting, and that real power comes from knowing when to engage and when to let the situation deflate on its own. The ripple effect of reactions extends beyond the immediate situation. The way we handle one moment sets the tone for how people interact with us in the future. If we are known for reacting emotionally to every provocation, we invite more of it. But if we are known for maintaining composure and responding only when necessary, we naturally command more respect. Over time, this reputation becomes a shield, discouraging unnecessary conflict from even arising. A single moment of silence can do more than just end an argument. It can change the entire dynamic of a relationship, reinforcing the idea that true strength lies in control, not in combat. Energy is one of the most valuable resources we have. Unlike money or material possessions, once our energy is spent, we cannot get it back. Where we choose to direct our focus determines not only our productivity, but also our emotional well-being. Engaging in unnecessary arguments, especially with disrespectful people, is one of the fastest ways to drain that energy. It diverts attention from meaningful goals, stifles creativity, and leaves us emotionally exhausted. Choosing where to invest our energy wisely is not just a matter of efficiency, it is a matter of self-preservation. Arguments fueled by disrespect rarely lead to resolution. When someone is committed to misunderstanding you, belittling you, or proving a point at your expense, no amount of reasoning will change their stance. Instead, engaging in these conflicts only serves to pull you into a cycle of frustration and defensiveness. It forces you to react rather than respond, shifting your focus from things that truly matter to a conversation that ultimately leads nowhere. The time spent crafting the perfect comeback or proving a point could be used for something far more meaningful: building relationships with those who respect you, working toward personal growth, or pursuing creative and professional endeavors. Beyond the loss of time, these interactions take a toll on emotional and mental health. Constantly defending yourself against negativity puts the mind in a state of stress, triggering frustration, anxiety, and even resentment. The brain operates best when it is focused on solutions, creativity, and forward momentum. But arguments with disrespectful people shift that focus to conflict and negativity. This mental shift can cloud judgment, reduce patience, and lower motivation. It is difficult to innovate, create, or make thoughtful decisions when energy is being spent on unnecessary conflict. The more we engage in these battles, the more we train our minds to operate in a defensive state rather than an empowered one. Emotional strength is another casualty of wasted energy. Every conflict requires emotional effort, and the more we pour into arguments with people who do not respect us, the less we have for the people and tasks that truly deserve our attention. Imagine a day spent dealing with pointless disputes versus a day spent working toward a meaningful goal. The former leaves us drained, frustrated, and often questioning why we allowed ourselves to get pulled into negativity in the first place. The latter leaves us fulfilled, focused, and moving forward. The difference is not in the number of hours spent, but in the quality of energy invested. Reserving energy for what truly matters requires discipline. It means recognizing when a conversation is unproductive and walking away instead of engaging. It means valuing peace over proving a point. It means understanding that not every battle deserves your presence and that your energy is better spent on people and projects that contribute to growth rather than those that pull you backward. Every moment spent on unnecessary conflict is a moment taken away from building something meaningful. The real power lies in knowing when to disengage and invest your energy where it truly counts. In a world that values quick responses and immediate action, the ability to pause is often misunderstood. Many mistake restraint for weakness, believing that power lies in reacting swiftly, asserting dominance, or making their voice heard at all costs. However, the greatest leaders, thinkers, and influencers throughout history have understood a deeper truth. True strength comes from patience, observation, and the wisdom to let time and action speak louder than words. The pause is not a sign of indecision, it is a mark of self-discipline, intelligence, and strategic thinking. When faced with conflict, disrespect, or difficult decisions, the instinctive response is often emotional. Whether it's anger, frustration, or the desire to prove a point, immediate reactions tend to come from a place of impulse rather than reflection. But reacting without thought often leads to regret. Words spoken in frustration can damage relationships, impulsive decisions can create unnecessary complications, and emotional responses can cloud judgment. A well-timed pause allows space for clarity. It gives the mind a chance to assess the situation objectively, ensuring that any response, if necessary, is thoughtful, intentional, and effective rather than reactive. The pause also forces others to sit with their own words and actions. When someone disrespects you, they often expect an immediate reaction, whether it's defensiveness, anger, or an attempt to justify yourself. By not reacting right away, you take control of the moment. You shift the power dynamic, making them confront their own behavior instead of engaging in a battle that fuels more negativity. Silence and patience create an uncomfortable space where the other person is left to wonder about your thoughts, your next move, and whether their actions were justified. This uncertainty is often more impactful than any argument or quick response could ever be. Beyond conflict, the power of pause plays a crucial role in leadership and decision-making. The most effective leaders do not rush to make decisions out of pressure or emotion. They gather information, weigh their options, and consider the long-term consequences of their choices. This measured approach prevents unnecessary mistakes and builds a reputation of reliability and wisdom. People trust those who think before they speak and act, knowing that their words and decisions come from a place of understanding rather than impulse. Time has a way of revealing truths that immediate reactions cannot. Many situations that feel urgent in the moment lose their importance with distance. What seems like a personal attack today may be forgotten tomorrow. What feels like an unbearable challenge may turn into an opportunity for growth if given time to unfold. Restraint allows space for perspective, helping us separate what truly matters from what is simply a fleeting moment of tension. The ability to pause is one of the most underappreciated forms of strength. It requires patience, control, and the confidence to let time do its work. Whether in conflict, decision-making, or personal growth, the wisdom of pause reminds us that power does not always come from speaking first or acting fast. It comes from knowing when to wait, when to listen, and when to let silence be the loudest response of all. Reputation is often viewed as something that is shaped by what others see, the public moments when we speak, act, or make decisions. People tend to focus on the visible signs of success, the outward demonstrations of strength, or the social interactions that define how we are perceived. But the true measure of one's character is revealed in the unseen moments, the times when no one is watching and there is no audience to impress. How we handle disrespect, frustration, or adversity when no one is around speaks volumes about who we really are. It is in these private moments that our true integrity is forged and our reputation is silently built. Integrity is not about proving to others that we are good, honest, or capable. It is about staying aligned with our core values, regardless of whether anyone notices. When we face disrespect or challenges in private, we are faced with a choice. We can either react impulsively, driven by emotions or the desire to win, or we can choose to respond thoughtfully, staying true to the principles that guide us. The choice we make in these quiet moments defines our character more than any public display ever could. In fact, those who seek to prove their worth or defend their honor in the presence of others often undermine their true integrity. Integrity is about consistency, and it is shown through how we handle ourselves in all circumstances, whether in front of an audience or not. When no one is watching, the temptation to act in ways that do not align with our values is often greater. It is easier to give in to frustration, to lash out, or to justify negative actions when we believe that no one will hold us accountable. But those small moments, the private instances of choosing patience over anger, silence over retaliation, or restraint over indulgence, are the foundation upon which our reputation is built. These moments are not glamorous, and they may go unnoticed by others, but they define our true nature. The way we respond to disrespect or difficult situations when there is no one around to see can either strengthen or weaken our internal integrity. Those who live with integrity do not require external validation to maintain their values. They act with honor because it is the right thing to do, not because it will make them look good or gain them favor. They understand that every action, no matter how small or unnoticed, adds to the greater picture of who they are. Their reputation is not something they can control directly. It is the byproduct of living authentically and consistently. What we do when we are alone with our thoughts and emotions reveals our true priorities. When we react based on impulse or let disrespect go unchecked, we are no longer acting in accordance with our values. But when we make choices that reflect our principles, whether it's choosing peace over conflict or silence over retaliation, we align ourselves with the person we aspire to be. It is in these unseen moments that we are truly shaping our reputation. The more consistently we act with integrity in private, the stronger our character becomes, and the more our reputation reflects the values we hold dear. In a world filled with constant noise, whether from external pressures, personal conflicts, or the demands of daily life, silence is often undervalued. People are conditioned to believe that every situation demands a response, that every conflict must be confronted, and that every injustice requires a defense. However, silence is not merely the absence of sound. It is a powerful tool that creates room for something far more valuable: growth. When faced with negativity, criticism, or tension, silence offers the opportunity for reflection, learning, and personal evolution in ways that verbal reactions cannot. Instead of feeding into negativity or adding fuel to a fire, silence has the unique ability to pause the cycle of conflict. When others lash out, criticize, or disrespect, the immediate instinct might be to respond, to defend, or to justify ourselves. Yet these quick reactions often lead to more misunderstandings, emotional turmoil, and heightened tension. Responding emotionally to negativity can result in entrenched arguments, where the focus shifts from the original issue to defending egos. Silence, however, creates a gap between stimulus and reaction. In that gap lies the potential for growth. By choosing silence in moments of tension, we create the space necessary for reflection. Instead of impulsively reacting, we can step back and ask ourselves why we feel triggered, what underlying emotions are at play, and what the best course of action truly is. This self-reflection helps to separate ourselves from the immediate emotional reaction, allowing us to approach the situation from a place of clarity rather than impulsivity. It also provides an opportunity to examine our values, whether our response is aligned with our integrity or if we are being swept away by temporary emotions. Silence is the space where self-awareness flourishes. Learning is another byproduct of silence. When we choose not to engage in an emotional exchange, we open the door to observation. We begin to notice the true intentions behind words or actions that may have initially seemed hurtful. Instead of getting caught up in the emotion of the moment, silence allows us to see the bigger picture, gaining insight into the other person's perspective and motivations. This deeper understanding can lead to greater empathy, helping us to develop more constructive responses in the future. Moreover, silence encourages us to listen, not just to others, but also to ourselves. In this quiet space, we become more attuned to our own thoughts and desires, helping us to make decisions that are more aligned with our long-term growth rather than short-term satisfaction. Personal evolution thrives in the absence of unnecessary noise. In the stillness, we have the time to process our experiences and learn from them. Every conflict, disagreement, or moment of tension offers a lesson, but it is only in silence that we can truly absorb that lesson. We gain a deeper understanding of ourselves, our boundaries, and our reactions. Over time, the practice of choosing silence over immediate response fosters emotional intelligence, self-discipline, and resilience. It teaches us to rise above petty conflicts and to focus on what truly matters: our growth, our values, and our relationships. By choosing silence in moments of negativity, we give ourselves the space to evolve, to become more thoughtful, and to respond in ways that are more constructive and aligned with who we want to be. Silence does not mean weakness or avoidance. It is an intentional choice to create room for reflection, learning, and personal development. In that space, growth happens. In conclusion, the true strength lies not in our immediate reactions or the urge to defend ourselves, but in our ability to pause, reflect, and respond with wisdom and integrity. Every moment, whether seen or unseen, is an opportunity to shape our character and build a reputation that reflects our values, not our impulses. Silence, when chosen over retaliation, creates space for growth, understanding, and personal evolution. By mastering the art of restraint, we do not only preserve our energy, but also build influence that is grounded in self-control and long-term vision. Our actions in moments of disrespect and tension are where our true power resides. The way we handle ourselves when no one is watching reveals who we truly are, and it is in those quiet moments of choice that our true character is forged. Let us remember that real influence is not about winning every argument, but about staying true to our principles, fostering reflection, and allowing time and silence to create the room for growth, wisdom, and lasting change.